Broke Ride Media.
You're now listening to The Straight Shooter Show with your host, The Straight Shooter.
All right, welcome to The Straight Shooter Show. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. Hope everybody's got their electricity back and their water and whatever. It's been a crazy week for a whole bunch of us. I didn't really have a topic that I wanted to start off with today, so we decided we're just going to jump right into some emails and see what people have to say, and then we got a pretty good caller today, so let's see what we got, Zach.
Okay, first email from Tyler Lloyd. He says, I just want to say I appreciate your TikToks and your podcast very much. I've followed you on TikTok for a while, but I just recently started making sure I see your videos, and honestly, they've made me think and have helped me a lot. Keep up the great work because I know you help a lot of people, and I continuously tell people to at least go watch some of your TikToks.
Cool, awesome. What was his name?
Tyler Lloyd.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler, for the support. We dang sure appreciate it. I wanted to add something about you saying about the ice this morning when I was at the getting fuel after working out. I was in the parking lot and it was all iced over in the fuel place, and I did a 360 in the parking lot on purpose. I was like, I'm a child.
That's what I was going to say.
It's tempting though, isn't it? No matter how old you get, to do a donut in the ice, it's pretty tempting.
A little. Somebody was telling me the other day, they were like, man, you got that big badass truck. I bet you go play in the snow and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, no, because I don't want something to break.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't think about that shit. But now I'm like, I don't want to break something. It's going to cost me $1,000. Or
diesels are so expensive no matter what. You pop a lug nut on that sucker and it's expensive, dude. Yeah, you don't want to break nothing on that thing for sure. Okay.
But it is nice. I mean, I've had zero problem anywhere.
Yeah, and you could put hundreds of thousands of miles on that thing. Yeah. You know, that's what I like about it, because, hell, both of my cars are over 100,000 miles, and I got to start thinking about new ones or about them breaking down, and they're not paid off, so that sucks. But okay, this one is Austin Ray. I've got to read these to make sure they're not anonymous. This one says, hey, Mr. Jason, I reached out to you early December on TikTok and told you that I was suicidal and I was scared to get help. You asked me if I had anyone that I could talk to, and I said my aunt told me to talk to her. I still haven't, but I talked to a buddy, and he took me to get admitted to the hospital. I was just released from a 45-day stay, and I feel better. I have so many resources to use and share in the future. I really appreciate your help. I guess I kind of need a little push to get the help I needed. Feel free to respond to my email or have it on the show or even call, but I'll be nervous as F. He says, I'm currently sitting in my car and listening to your podcast. Keep up the good work.
Man, that is great.
That's awesome, Austin. Good job at getting yourself some help. And that's what he does.
I do remember. I remember him saying that he had an aunt. It has been a while. It's been a while back. I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but man, I'm just really glad that you did reach out to a friend and that you did, go get some help. And that's fantastic news, man. I'm praying for you.
Yep. Hey, and feel free to keep us updated on how you're doing. So we appreciate it, Austin. All right. I've got one more. This one is anonymous, but this is actually a question for you. Okay.
Okay.
So this is anonymous. It says, I've been in a relationship for 8 years and married for 3 years. I have a 4-year-old child and went through a divorce twice, but never fell through with it.
Wait a second.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I have been in a relationship for 8 years and married 3 years. I have a 4-year-old child and have went through a divorce twice, but never fell through with it. I have primary custody of my son, but we recently have decided to work things and try to stay together. We've been together again for about 8 months now, and now she wants a break, causing her to barely see and spend time with our son because she barely has time as it is. I feel now that our son will be affected by this because he is used to seeing her every day. what would be some advice on this? So what he's saying is
he's filed for divorce twice.
Yes.
But didn't ever go through.
Didn't ever go through with it. Got back together. They're on a break. He wants some advice on how to handle this situation.
It's definitely going to affect your child if, mom is in and out, and, she's being a daily, influence when she's there and then disappears when she's not, and not spending time with your child. As hard as it is to let go, because I know, man, I've been there more than once, especially when it's the mother of your child. But in a situation where you're on again, off again that much, and then when you are off, she is completely absent. And my advice is that you need to probably go ahead and finalize that divorce and move on from that relationship. I think you're prolonging the inevitable by continuing to go back and forth, and you can't make her be a present mom with your kids. You can't make her, act right if she's not acting right. You can only do what is the next right thing for you and your child. It's a very, very tough situation, but my advice is, based on this email, what you've sent me, my advice is you need to go ahead and finalize that divorce and concentrate on your life and your child's life.
Because it's important too for kids to see a healthy relationship, right?
Some stability, absolutely.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound like that's going to ever happen. On again, off again, on again, off again. There comes a point where you got to, especially when you have a kid, you got to kind of put yourself aside, be like, I know you love the girl. I know you love her.
Yeah.
And that will probably never change. It'll dampen, it'll weaken a little bit. That'll never change. But for your kids, you got to be strong and get the heck out of there.
You have to. You have to. In both of our opinions, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And it's going to suck. But at least you're going to get, I mean, from a man's point of view, or from my point of view, at least you're going to get the last word on it if you do it, though, right? It's not necessarily her breaking up with you. That's kind of prideful and arrogant of me to say. But
well, I don't even think about that so much as I mean, in the court's eyes, in most cases, the one that files for a divorce, kind of has the upper hand. That they are not the respondent to somebody asking them for a divorce. And the fact that you've already got the legal custody apparently from when you filed before, and you've maintained custody and she's disappeared, that's going to help you in maintaining the custody, and so that you will have some control and some say over how the child is raised. So,
yeah, it's a terrible situation. Terrible.
That's a risk that some people take whenever they do. Also, they let somebody back in, and then they end up taking the child with them when they go. And when they had custody before, and it gets changed because they let them back in. Yeah,
because if the kid's kind of established with you right now, there's no court that's going to take them away from you.
Right.
So you've got to kind of act before things get ugly. You know what I mean? I had to do that. I had to bounce before things got ugly, because her mood could change and things could change drastically for you. You know what I mean? So it's a terrible situation. I know you love her, but you've got to make it happen.
And I'm sure this isn't the advice you wanted. I'm sure you probably wanted the pill, to make her just, come back and be active in her child's life. And there's just not one. I mean, there's not anything I can tell you to do to make her behave a certain way.
Nope. It's unfortunate. Okay, that's all the emails. You want to jump into a phone call?
Let's do it.
All right, we got Spencer calling today. We're just going to let him describe what he's going through, and we're going to talk to him.
Spencer? Is that what you said?
Yep, Spencer.
Hello, Spencer.
Okay.
How are you today?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. It's a little cold, but other than that, we're good.
Yeah, it's cold here, too.
Hope you've got your power and water and all that stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm in Ohio, so we're used to this cold weather.
Right.
But yeah, it's just cold outside, but we still have all power and everything like that, so that's good.
Well, good deal. All right, man. So what's going on in your life that I can try to help you with?
So I reached out to you, a while back, probably like August time frame. I'm 24 years old. I'm going through a divorce and a now custody issue as well. So I got married at 23. I got married in 2019, fresh out of college. I just graduated college. And my wife at the time already had a daughter who was 2 at the time. When I first met my wife, she was 6 months old, and her dad is not in her life, like, at all.
Right.
Not on the birth certificate or anything. So she thinks that I'm her dad, which I've always taken on that role and have had no problem doing so.
Yeah.
So then we had a child together after we got married. Shortly after we got married, she got pregnant, and it's actually my biological daughter's first birthday tomorrow. So back in August, she left. We decided to separate. So it's been ongoing court stuff. We tried to come to a dissolution. She agreed to everything except for, I was really adamant that I wanted to do shared parenting, and I wanted 50-50 time with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really important to me. And she would not agree to that. So she ended up filing for divorce. And here we are. She's really battling hard to not let me get 50-50 time with my daughter. Right now it is 50-50 time, all the temporary orders and everything. The court came through. It's 50-50. We're on a 50-50 schedule,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. And the final hearing is middle of March. So just waiting for that. It's been a really taxing process on mentally. Because like I said, the child is the most important thing. There is no all the property and all that stuff, all the material things don't really matter.
Right.
It's you only get one chance with your child, they're only young once. So
Right.
I want to be the best dad that I can be. And it's been a lot to go through. And I've been listening to your podcast. I've listened to multiple other parenting / whatever podcasts, trying to learn how to be the best co-parent that I can be. I feel like, I'm not perfect, but I really feel like I put the kids first, and I try to keep everything else out of it.
Right.
And it just seems like I'll just give a short example. This week, we were getting along great. She came to drop my daughter off to me. She stayed for about 30 minutes she brought her daughter over as well, because she said she wanted to come see me. And we were getting along fine. And then she left. And then later that night, she texted me, my mom bought our daughter this little tiny family photo album, baby photo album that you could put pictures in, whatever. So after we got separated, I took the pictures out of her family. I left all the pictures of my wife and her daughter in there, but the way that her family treated me throughout this whole process has been kind of crappy. So I just took those pictures out of her family, because I didn't really want those in my house anymore. I would never say anything bad about her family around our daughter. Just didn't really want those memories in my house anymore. And she starts texting me, and I was like, "Oh, you need to put my family back, and you're not teaching her who her whole family is. You're trying to keep her away from her family. You have her 50% of the time. It's not my job to teach her about your family when she's with me. I'm never going to say anything bad about your family, but it's not my job to have those in my house. Just you don't have a single picture of me or my family in your house, and I don't expect you to either."
Right.
When she's with me, I can teach her about my side of the family, and she can meet those people, and that's perfectly fine. She's with you, that's on you. And those type of things just pop up, and I really try to be and it sucks. Like I really grew attached to her daughter as well. I mean, like I said, she thinks to this day that I'm her dad. She does not know any differently. And I rarely get to see her anymore. When I do get to see her, I try to bring her a gift or something to make her happy and stuff like that. But just been really hard to go through at 24 years old. I mean, I was in college and then I met her, and in the matter of like 1 year, I went from playing video games at my parents' house, just worried about passing class and playing video games with my buddies, to moving out on my own, having a family in the matter of a year. And it was, I think it was good for me. I grew up a lot and I matured a lot. And I think I needed to do that. Yeah. But, none of my family has really been through a divorce. So it's been, uncharted waters for me. I'm not used to seeing anything like this. And I mean, I truthfully just think it's kind of a joke that you have to fight in court to parent your own child that you brought into this world. And, throughout this whole process, I've tried to look at it through the eyes of whatever I propose. I would want to be okay with it if it was flipped around the other way. So I've always just kept the 50-50 time. I've told her, you can make all the decisions with school and medical. Like, I don't really care about that stuff. I just want equal time with my daughter. And I've just tried to maintain that throughout. And, it's kind of crazy to me that you have to fight to parent your own child.
So let me ask you this. Since you've had the 50-50 agreement, have you've maintained that, right? You have always taken the time you're supposed to. You don't forfeit any of your time.
No, I've never forfeited a second of my time.
Okay. That's a huge plus whenever you do go back to court. Because if that's been working 50-50, the court, they have no reason to change that. You know, if she doesn't come to court with something saying, well, he's an unfit father for this reason. Now you need to be prepared for that. If she is conjuring up things to make you look like an unfit father, you know, you just need to be prepared for that. I'm sure you have an attorney, right? Mm-hmm. You have an attorney?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm all that. The thing that she gets really upset about is she works. I work from home. Thankfully I have a really good job that, I work in the military. I'm a civilian worker in the military, but we've been working from home since COVID started. So I've been working from home for about a year now. And, so when I have her, my 50% of the time, I'm with her that entire time. When she's with her, like, she has to drop her off at the babysitter, and then she goes to work, and then she sees her a little bit in the evening. And then, so she gets it bothers her that when our daughter's with me, I'm with her that full time. But when she has her, she doesn't have her that full time.
Yeah.
So I've tried to work with her. If you want to give me an extra day during the week, I can give you an extra night. So that way, the time that you do have with her, you can, but it's never good enough. So it's just frustrating. But yeah, like you said, she has tried to bring up, there's not a single thing she can say. I've really been a really good dad to our daughter ever since the minute she was born. There's nothing she can say. I did struggle, parenting her daughter for a little bit there when she was going through her terrible twos. I truthfully, it was an experience I've never been through before. I've never really been around a child that age. Right. So, was I a perfect dad around dealing with a 2-year-old all the time? Absolutely not. Did I learn a lot from that? Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I think we're all human. We all make mistakes. I didn't make any catastrophic mistakes, but I definitely could have been a better dad to her daughter when she was going through this terrible twos. Yeah. And I acknowledge that. And I can see that now. And I could see that back then. You can see it right after if you make a mistake, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But I feel like this parenting thing, it's definitely a difficult task to do, especially when they're that age. So I feel like I learned a lot of valuable lessons I can take with me moving forward. But
Well, your relationship with her other daughter, although, you know, you developed that attachment, should have no bearing on your, you know, current, you know,
Correct.
situation. I mean, it shouldn't even enter into court.
And that's that's everything that she's bringing up in court is trying to say, oh, he made this mistake with my daughter. Like, she hasn't brought up a single thing about anything with our daughter that we have together, because there isn't a single thing that she could possibly bring up.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, and I just see, I've watched your TikToks for a while, and I see that you're always putting out good advice. I guess it's difficult to try to be a good co-parent when the other side isn't really interested in doing so. So I guess I don't know if you have any. I mean, I've tried everything. If you have anything more, I mean, if she tries to start a fight and it's not about our daughter, I just usually just leave her on red. I don't answer her.
Right.
Because, I mean, those emotions just escalate and things end up being said that shouldn't be said. And I've been really careful throughout this whole process that I do not text her anything that she could use against me in court. I never called her name, never said anything like that.
Well, that's good.
So,
and you're right. Yeah. I mean, all you can do is always, and I say this all the time, you have to do the next right thing. You know, I can tell by listening to you, you know what the next right thing is. And so as long as you aren't, you know, letting her draw you into arguments, you're not saying things that are hateful, you're keeping everything professional and business. This is about our daughter and my time with my daughter. As long as you continue to keep it that way, I just don't see you having any, especially since you've already got that 50-50 time right now, and you're showing that you are showing up. You're having your daughter half the time. There's no reason to change that. I just can't imagine you having, you know, any problems, you know, going into court. Now, if you did allow her to draw you into arguments and say hateful things and, you know, not show up or not have your daughter when you were supposed to, then it'd be a totally different story. So I don't know that I really have anything to add, because I think you're already doing the right thing. I think you're already doing what you're supposed to do. There's one thing I would ask, and I don't know, I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know if your attorney just is okay, you know, whatever you say. But when you say that you don't care about the, you know, decision making, as far as school and medical and stuff like that, I personally would take a different stance, because that stuff can be huge later on for you. I mean, it can really, really, really be a big deal. And even if you didn't get those decision making, I mean, even asking for that stuff in court or letting her know, it's just part of a negotiation. For me, you know, me, it's a part of a negotiation. I always ask for more than I'm going to get. I know I'm not going to get everything I ask for, but if I get 70% of what I ask for, then I'm a winner, because if I ask for less and I get 70% of less, then you end up with, you know, 35%. You know what I'm saying? You don't get it. You don't get. Yeah. So I'm not an attorney, but, and since your court date's coming up in like 3 weeks, it probably isn't going to, you know, I don't know if it will make a change or not, but I would probably talk to my attorney about it before going to court, because she could basically say, well, okay, I'll go ahead and give him the 50-50 visitation, but I'm the primary, so everything I say goes. And then you're going to be back in court in 5 years when, you know, you have a major, major concern about something she's doing when it comes to her education. You know what I mean?
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I got you. I do think my lawyer was trying to use that as like a negotiation tactic, because it was a possibility that this last court date, which was just a couple weeks ago, was possibly going to be the last one. And then I was there for 5 minutes and the judge walked off, and then they scheduled this final hearing for middle of March. So I think my lawyer was trying to use that as a negotiation tactic to try to get her to accept it, so that way it could be over with all this. But yeah, I'll definitely talk to my lawyer about that. I would like to have those decisions, but I guess those decisions are definitely less of a priority to me compared to the time that I spend. But it's definitely still important. I mean, I would love if I got that as well. It just seems it's tough. Seems like fighting an uphill battle against a mom in court. I know that from what I've heard you say about your son, that seems like you got a pretty good end of the deal there. It just seems, I don't know if the laws are different wherever you're at compared to Ohio, but it just seems like it's an uphill battle against a mom in court. A lot of the times, I feel like if the roles reverse, like I have my own house, I don't know if you know what a guardian ad litem is, but basically she got involved she had to write up a report for the judge on what her suggestion would be for the parenting time. And she came to my house, did a home check, and my house, she said my house was extremely clean. She has her own room, absolutely nothing bad to say about my house. Mm-hmm. And it provides her definitely proper living conditions. And on the other hand, my ex doesn't have her own house. And I would never try to take my daughter away from her mom. I'm not that kind of person. I truly believe that both parents are very vital in a child's development. But it just feels like it's not. I feel like if the roles were reversed, then I would have absolutely no shot at 50-50. But because she's the mom, that she has like an automatic advantage or an automatic upper hand.
Well, that's true. And that's true in my state too, in Oklahoma. I didn't have to fight in court for my rights. I negotiated, I negotiated out of court. I just told her this is how it is and this is what I want to do. And, we can come to an agreement, or we can both get attorneys and we can spend $1 million, but I'll never quit. I will get custody of my son. And, she ultimately agreed, to just let me have, she knew he would be better with me, and she accepted it. And I never kept him away from her. She knew I wouldn't. She knew I would always let him see her. So for me, it wasn't a fight, but I've seen a lot of other men in my state that have had to fight just like you are, just to get the 50-50 visitation.
Yeah.
I always try to tell people that come to me before, like I'm talking to somebody else right now through TikTok, that they haven't split yet. He's preparing to split. I am counseling him on what he needs to do to prepare for the split, so that he will have an advantage, or as much of an advantage as he can have coming out of it with regards to custody. And, he's like you, he's not concerned about any of the material things. He's not concerned about any amount of money. He just wants to make sure he doesn't lose his child. And so I'm trying to, it's a lot easier for me to try to help counsel somebody who hasn't left yet, or hasn't split yet, than somebody who is on the verge of their final court date, because so much has already happened and there's less room for negotiation when you're this close to the end, because nobody's really wanting to move too much. Both of you are, it's getting ready to happen in a couple of weeks. How much can you move? You've both kind of dug in at this point. So as far as your,
I guess,
go ahead.
One question I have for you, I guess, just then, before this last court date, I'm really been anxious. I thought that was maybe going to be the last one. So I was, right before that, for a couple of days there, I could barely eat. I wasn't sleeping very well. And since then I've been fine, because the next court date's in a little bit off now, but trying any suggestions on how to best calm your mind and not I don't want to, I know I'm going to go through that again, but trying to make that less severe as what it was last time. Cause like I said, it's just, daughter is truly the most important thing in my life, and it's not close. And it's just the thought, even the possibility that something bad could happen. It shouldn't happen, but the possibility that it could, it's just, it's devastating to think about.
Right. Only a couple of things that I can tell you, because as it approaches again, you're going to get those same feelings. Two things, or maybe three. When that feeling starts coming over you, seriously stop, close your eyes, start taking some deep breaths. Try to that will calm your nerves a little bit. Remind yourself that you've done everything that you can, and whatever happens at this point, whatever happens, and you being, all torn up is not going to change, the outcome. There's nothing you can do at this point. I mean, you're there, and to stress about it isn't going to change anything. And pray. I would pray if you are a religious person at all, or if you believe in God, I would pray for, comfort, to ease your tension. And that's really the only things that I can tell you. Those are the things that I do whenever I am entering into a situation where I am really stressed out about it, as I just try to remind myself that I've done everything I can, and I can't change anything that's going to happen now. It's up to somebody else, because that's the way it is. It's not up to you anymore. It sucks.
Right.
As far as your her other daughter, like you said, you try to maybe pick up a gift or something whenever you're going to get your daughter. That's good. If you continue to be a positive influence, and I'm going to tell you right now, I reached out to a friend of mine. He heads up an organization in Texas called the Unmarried Father. And I have talked to him about situations like yours before. And one thing that he has always said when it comes to somebody else's child that you've helped raise, or that you've been a part of, in your case, she thinks you're her dad, is that if you don't get that time with your ex's child anymore, that making the right decisions with your own child and being a positive influence on your own child still directly affects that other child, because the way that you treat your daughter, the way that you raise your daughter over the next several years, that same influence is going to transfer over to her sister. And so while you may not get the time that you may want, and that could change down the road. Maybe she'll come around and she'll let you start spending more, especially if she starts dating or something and she wants more free time. As long as you have let go of that relationship with the mom and you really want that relationship with the daughter, she may welcome you taking her daughter, for the weekend, because it frees her up to be with whoever, and that's great. Yeah. Let her have that time with whoever. You're getting the time with, the daughter that you have formed that relationship with. But as long as you're raising your daughter correctly and you're doing the next right thing with her, it will transfer to her daughter as well.
Mm-hmm. I feel awful for her daughter. Just the fact that she doesn't really have a dad. I'm always going to be there for her no matter what, and I love her to pieces. But just the thought that her own dad just walked out on her life, hasn't seen her in years, and just gave up on her. It's crazy to me. I don't know how somebody can do that to a child. And she did nothing wrong, so it's not her fault whatsoever. So I just want to be a rock in her life, because she deserves that.
I've raised a couple of kids that didn't know their dads. Same situation. I understand exactly what you're saying. It's tough.
Yeah.
But again, when it's not yours, you end up, it went like in your situation, when the relationship ends, you have no say, you have no control, you have no rights. You just, you just have to do the next right thing that you're allowed to do.
Correct.
I don't know that any of this conversation has eased your mind leading up to your final court date. But I think based on what you've told me, you are already really doing a phenomenal job at going through this process, especially at a young age. I know it's tough, but you seem to be doing all the right stuff. So I just
appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, this conversation helped. I've been really trying to stay active in my church as well. I don't know, I think that's like kind of a getaway for me as well, to stay involved with the church, keep my mind off things, be doing good things, and not letting yourself drift off doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So yeah, it's been, I mean, it's easy. Having my own daughter in this mix made it, I guess, in some ways easier, because I mean, everything that I do, I always think first, well, how is this going to affect my daughter or anything like that? So it sucks that I'm going through this, but I also got the biggest blessing in my life out of it with my daughter. So, right. I mean, I can't complain. So, yeah.
Going forward, when you get through this process, you probably already know this, but be very, very, very slow to introduce any new women to your daughter's life. I know she's only going to be one, but I would still be very slow to introduce any new women, into her life, because you don't want a new woman to be in your boat, if y'all
definitely
get, involved and then you break it off, and then now the new woman has no relationship with this daughter and your daughter, how she feels. I mean, she gets to be 3 or 4 years old if you haven't settled down yet, and then you bring women around and then it gets cut off, then your daughter's going to be like, well, where's she at? I miss her,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely don't want to do that. That's definitely been on my mind too. Yeah, I don't want to, whenever all this is final, I'm definitely going to be really careful about who and when I bring somebody around her.
Absolutely. All right, brother. I really want an email after you get through this final court date and an update on what happened. And if you need to talk to me again, even if it's not on the actual podcast, after you get through this next court date, we'll have another phone call if you need to.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you do. You really provide a positive light, I think, for a lot of people, and never seen you doing anything negative online. So everything that you do, you're always trying to help people, and I think that's awesome. So
I'll try. I appreciate
keep doing what you're doing as well.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
I will reach out to you when everything's final. And, I hope everything goes well for you. I enjoy listening to the podcast every week. So, keep doing what you're doing.
We will pray for you and your daughter.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
All right. You have a good day, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
What a good guy, man.
Yeah.
I've probably said this more time than once, but you don't see a kid as young as him, 24, he's got a really good head on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not doing anything wrong.
Doesn't appear to be. What
he's
telling us, everything sounds right.
Well, he even admitted he made some mistakes with her daughter, right?
Right.
But dude, I'm telling you, you just go in front of a judge and tell him what you just told Jason and said, yes, I did make some mistakes and I learned from them.
The biggest problem in court is a lot of times he doesn't even get a chance to say anything. His attorney is just going to, the two attorneys are going to say whatever they're going to say, and you don't really get an opportunity to express yourself or what.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Oh, man. I've been in several courts where, where it wasn't even for me, but I was paying the attorney for a spouse where they are fighting for this or that. And I'm like, dude, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? I mean, why, what am I paying you for? You just walked up there and that attorney said something and the judge said, this is what's going to happen. And you said, okay. And I paid you $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 for that. Yeah. Hell, I could have done a better job myself.
Yeah.
So when the person doesn't get a chance to speak for themselves in these situations,
yeah, because it would really benefit him for the judge to see his character, because that sounds like a really good dude.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really good guy. He's got his head on his shoulders, got a great job. he didn't sound like he's even worried about the relationship aspect. Now he's just trying to salvage the kid.
That's right, and that's good.
Most kids that age are like, God, I'm going through a divorce. I want that girl back. He didn't mention one time about her. He just wants to salvage the kid.
He has separated that already.
Yeah,
already. He's gotten to that point, and that's the healthiest place to be when you're going through something like this.
He's in a very healthy mindset, and he's very anxious, but, I mean, of course, right?
Yeah.
Of course he is. There's nothing he can do, to not be anxious. That's a big, big, big moment in your life. Of course you're going to be anxious, Yeah. And I'm literally going to get off here and pray for you because in my opinion, I mean, crazier things have happened, but I don't see this going bad for him, dude. I really don't.
I pray not.
Yeah, I hope not too, but
he's not asking for anything outlandish.
No.
He wants 50% of the time with his child. That's not that much to ask. Especially they don't live that far apart. His mother's close for a good stable support system. He's got a good job. He's got a good, environment. I
don't see it going bad. Well, and then he had that, I don't remember what he called it, but that thing where the person came to his house.
Yeah.
And checks out his house and stuff like that and came up with 0 things bad about it. So I just don't understand where they would say no, like you can't have mixed custody or 50-50 custody. Like I know they don't have to have a reason, but if there is no reason, why wouldn't they?
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it was like right now it was 50-50 and he was like, missing a few days here, a few days there, and she could go to court and say, look, he's already got 50-50 and he doesn't even keep her 50-50. So he'd be screwed.
Yeah. When you asked that, I was like, of course, like if you'd be screwed there, but he's taking every chance to get, and he's spending more time with her than her. And what's crazy is like, this needs to be said in court too, is the fact that he is offering her extra days from his schedule to accommodate her because she doesn't get to see him as much as he does.
Right.
But she doesn't want to do that. She's just being a pain in the butt, But I like what you said because I was going to say this if you didn't say it, but someday she's probably going to mature. Mm-hmm. And this isn't going to be as big as an issue as it is right now.
Right. I think she's still more emotionally involved in it than he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like someday she is going to mature. Oh, I hope she's going to mature someday. And this is going to be a lot different. Life's not always going to be this hard, most likely.
Yeah.
She may not. But most of the time, women grow up in between 25 and 30 and things happen. And I have a baby mama right now that just in the last couple months has been phenomenal. Something clicked and she just grew up and we're great now for months. And it's just blowing my hair back, but it's great. Something, I don't know what it was, but something clicked and we're great now.
Yeah.
Never fight, never argue, nothing. And she's just growing up a little bit. That's what I think it is. And I think if you can hang on until then, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't you think that?
Yeah.
And if you keep doing that, bringing that girl gifts like you do, the stepdaughter, keep bringing her gifts, showing the mom that you still love her and still want to be in her life, there's going to be a day that she gives in to that.
I probably wouldn't make it a gift every week. But,
right.
But at least on holidays and,
making some sort of an effort.
Yeah. Or getting stuff for her, as his daughter gets a little older, get stuff for his daughter to give to her sister. So it can be from, so that shows both kids, that he still wants to be involved and make his daughter and her daughter all part of the party, Yeah,
exactly.
So
yeah, definitely keep us in the loop, Spencer, of what happens. I'm actually extremely nervous for you as well, but I'm going to be praying right along with Jason. So just keep us in the loop, and we're going to be waiting for it. So,
all right, I think we're going to make this kind of a short episode, and we're going to close it out and just go try to warm up. It's cold in the studio. You should have warmed it up better this morning.
I turned it on last night. It's just cold as heck in Oklahoma.
All right. Well, thanks for listening in. Hope that something that we said helped you, or that you can relay the what you've heard to somebody else that might be going through a similar situation. And you may not agree with everything that I said here, but I'm always going to shoot you straight.
You have been listening to The Straight Shooter Show. Come back every Wednesday for new episodes.